Hello, welcome back to part 9 of our Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts campaign, playing as Spain, where we're trying to essentially declare war on everyone all the time. So if you missed last episode, we had our showdown with the Italian Navy. We managed to destroy pretty much all of the Italian Navy. They've only got 2 armoured cruisers and a projected cruiser left. And we've got a couple of battles on the map still after that big showdown. We are not going to fight any of these, I think. There's a transport raid here. We're probably slightly outmatched. Their armoured cruisers are a little bit better than ours. And then there's just a cruiser-on-cruiser battle here. So I'm just going to leave those. We don't have to fight either of those. In terms of politics, so we are just 2 people, just the Austrians and the Germans that we haven't upset too much. So we are upsetting people, but we haven't got any other wars sort of imminent right now. So we'll try and keep pressure upon the Italians. We've got a big surplus in victory points versus them, but probably not enough to get Sardinia from them. So we will try and get a blockade in. We've got our ships in here, the battleships, which will move back into port. So we'll move on, but what I really want to start doing is getting some more ships pumped out. We've only got, we haven't actually got any building at the moment, which we probably should have. Our army logistics score is only 13%, which isn't very good, and if we're going to take Sardinia, we'll need to get that up even higher, particularly if we have a war with someone like France. So in terms of our relations this term, I'm going to antagonize the, can't do the US again, so I'm going to antagonize the Chinese, just because I think they're probably the best target for now. Research-wise, we have I've just put a priority into hull protection because we can get double bottom in 1 turn if we do that, and we can get some better towers shortly, but that slows down the double bottom. I want to basically redesign our armoured cruiser and maybe a new light cruiser as well and start cranking those out. We'll move on to the next turn and we'll get that double bottom. I would like to get the double bottom just to give us some additional protection against torpedoes. Not that the Italians really have anything that could hurt us now. We have still got all of our battleships. We did lose some cruisers in that engagement and negotiations failed. Okay, so there's some pacifist protests and we can spend some money to disperse them, or we can spend even more money to, that's not a great choice, but we'll get some prestige and unrest. But I am fine with the unrest. It's only 1.5 at the minute and I don't want to spend that much money, so we'll spend the smaller amount. Okay, so we've got our double bottom, which helps us against mines and torpedoes. We've also got some naval bombardment tactics. Italians lost some additional transports and relations deteriorated with the Chinese, so another battle's generated here. Again, cruiser on cruiser engagement. I'm going to leave that for now and let's have a look at our status of our battleships. So some minor damage to the Aquilon and Madrid. San Julian is fine, and our other battleships, we could do some with some more cruisers for escorts over here, but our other battleships, if we look at our fleet, we've got 3 still over in the Caribbean, and then we've got 2 in the Bay of Biscay, which I'm actually going to move into the Mediterranean now, and then we'll sally out and get a blockade going before they have built up their fleet. Although it's so damaged, it's not likely that they're going to be able to build that up much in future very quickly. So we'll leave that battle. Research-wise, take that priority off there. It's still 2 months for the control stations, so what do we get in big guns? We get Mark II 9-inch shortly, which I'm gonna probably stick to the might be useful to have on our cruisers actually if we can fit them on. We do 2 months in that. Okay, so we'll prioritize big guns and control stations. and we'll move on a little bit, and then we'll decide. So that will be for our armored cruisers. Really, if we can get 9-inch guns on them, we'll try and fit those on. In the meantime, we are going to have a look at our light cruiser design and see what we can do there. So let's go for a new design. And our existing cruiser design, which was actually one we haven't redesigned, the General Lizo, which was 5.6 million. Let's have a look at it. Which actually performed quite well in the previous battle, so I'm not that unhappy with them. But we can maybe improve that slightly. So let's have a look at the hulls we've got for light cruisers. Okay, we've got quite a few available. We've got a semi-armored cruiser, which is might be one to use, or we go light cruiser 1. So the max speed really is 20.5 knots on here. In fact, all of our light cruiser hulls aren't particularly fast in their optimum speed. Okay, so I think that's what our current light cruiser is built on. So let's use our semi-armored cruiser hull, and we'll build to our limit that we can at the moment, which is 3,500 tons, which is 1,000 tons bigger than our existing one, the Leggera class. We'll leave that as it is. Let's see if we can get them to. So these really, we'll just put 20 knots. We'll drop the bulkheads down to many. We'll leave the range as it is for now. Put the quarters up to standard. So we haven't really got any improvements on the boilers, but we'll go with the triple expansion engine. We'll leave it semi-balanced at the moment. We have now got nickel steel armor and the double bottom, and we'll go with an armored citadel. Mines, I see these being more kind of fleet cruisers, or like, I guess we'll come back to mines. We might put them on. See what we've got left in terms of the tonnage. So we haven't got great towers at the minute, but we'll go with the best we can. Not much between them really, but we'll go with the 2. And funnel wise, I wonder if we can get 2 of these on. So that gives us 40% engine efficiency. Let's see if we can get 2 of these squeezed in. I don't think we can, no. Okay, we'll go with, that gives us 35%. Can we get 3 of those in? Yep. Okay, that gets us over 100%. And we can't induce the boilers yet, so that's going to have to be, it hurts our roll obviously in pitch, but not a lot we can do about that at the moment. Main gun wise, can only get singles. If I think we'll put a couple of 6-inch guns on our light cruisers now. We could potentially get another one in a barbette actually. Let's see, or on a barbette. I'm not sure this is going to help our roll again, but let's see how it looks. Okay, so a couple of 6-inch on the front, and I think we can still only get 3 center line. Can't remember where you have a look at that. Maybe we'll do the same on the back. Although probably won't really fit very well there. Let's turn you round. Okay. And then in terms of casement guns, we can only get 3-inch guns, but we can get a fair few amount of them. And we're overweight though, so Might have to revise those 6-inch guns. Move up to barbette 1. Yeah, we're let's just put everything up to how we want it for the moment. Max HE, keep it on nose fuse, enhanced reloading. We get white powder. We'll go with gun cotton. So we're well overweight there. So we'll take the 6-inch off. Probably won't be able to hit much with those anyway. And let's see if we can go for 5-inch. See if that makes any difference. Let's turn that one around. Okay, so we're only 1% overweight there. So we'll avoid the mines. What else can we change? So we could drop the range. If we drop the range, we don't really care about the mines. We've got a little bit of protection here. How does that compare to our current light cruiser? 3.2-inch maximum there, which I think is on the casemates. We can squeeze much more speed out of this hull without going overweight and bringing our engine efficiency down. So let's see if we can get a little bit more on the main belt, and then be a little bit on the conning tower. Let's just fill out that. Put it up to 4 inches. Okay. Okay, so that will do us, I think, so 20 knots, which isn't great, but this is probably going to operate with our battleships, which are pretty slow at the minute. So as long as it can keep up with that, that's fine. And can we get more bulkheads? No. That's fine. Oh, we haven't put torpedo tubes, which we definitely want. Okay, that takes us over, so we're going to have to drop the belt down slightly again. 2.4. Let's drop the conning tower back down. Which probably isn't going to do it either. Let's put the belt back down. It doesn't actually add much weight at all. We will, there we go, drop the belt. Which means they're not very well protected, but slightly better than our current ones, I think. And better quality armor anyway. We've got the nickel steel this time. Okay, the Legera. Okay. Yep, I approve that. They look a bit weird with their single turrets. But we probably don't need this kind of arrangement on them, but I quite like the look of it, so we'll save that, and they're obviously a lot more expensive. So I might actually, because they performed quite well in that battle, I might keep the General Lizo and use those as kind of the colony ships, just to build cheap and stick out there, and then these ones can operate with the battleships. We did say. Okay, how many can we afford? So we've got a bit of a surplus, or a bit of a nest egg, but the budget, I think, we're slightly reducing that each turn. So let's have a look at our finances. Oh, only down 1.7 million. We could drop the tech budget slightly. We are cranking that up quite a bit. Okay, so we will build 3 for now, and then I'm also going to try and build 2 of the General Lizo, just to replace those ones that we lost in the previous battle. Our battleships only take 1 month to repair there, What's that done to our finances? Only down 6.5 million at the minute. Okay, that's fine. And then we're going to hold off on the armoured cruisers and we'll see if we can get those 9-inch guns on them, although it's probably a bit too heavy. And then the rest of the research is chugging along. And then in terms of our relations this turn, who we want to annoy, we'll go with America. So yeah, if you haven't watched before, basically I am trying to make the Spanish campaign, although it's hard as it is, they're kind of one of the poorer nations, trying to make it a bit harder by each turn. If I'm not using my political action for something else, I'll use it to reduce relations with one of the other major powers. And then we should be pretty much at war most of the time, I think. Our budget's gone back into surplus now. Now we've got those battleships repaired. Which means I might order a couple more cruisers or some torpedo boats. So we failed to annoy the US as a convoy raid, which again is just a couple of cruisers v cruisers, but we are now actually going to move our fleet out. So the battleships are still, the older battleships are still making their way across, but since those battleships are now repaired, let's move them out, and we're going to move them into the central Mediterranean. And I think that should blockade Italy. We might have to move up into the Adriatic as well. And we can't move the cruiser because it's in that engagement, or it's meant to be. So we'll move the... Oh, that's in there as well. Okay, well, what we'll do is... Yeah, we'll move that light cruiser to join them. And then we've got some light ships here at Malaga as well, which will move, but just the cruisers will leave the torpedo boats. And then these battleships that are coming round the coast here, we'll leave them in the western Mediterranean, just to keep our power projection above theirs over here. And then if we can get the power projection above theirs in central Med, I think they'll be blockaded. So we'll move into the next turn and check. But relations wise, and our army logistics is increasing, which is great. GDP is still on the rise. Italy's it's still got 10 billion on us. In terms of relations, I'm going to go with the Chinese again, or I could play it safe and annoy the Germans or the Austrians. But I'm actually going to go with the Soviets because they don't really have anything that will directly compete with us in terms of possessions for the moment. Anyway, so let's move on. Another convoy mission, we're still in the surplus. And I think we should have those 9-inch guns now, the Mark IIs. Some additional small towers for the torpedo boats. And there we go, there's our Mark II 9-inch. Again, we failed with the provocations with the Soviets. We need to get some better or worse diplomats. And we'll remove those priorities as well. Turret mechanisms, we've got secondary turrets on light cruisers coming up. We probably haven't got any hulls really that's useful for at the moment. In 4 months we get increased weight limit on our light cruisers, but nothing else really is imminent. I'll keep the set budget as it is, and let's just see what this battle is first. So, a couple of light cruisers. We could do... Are we blockading them? No, we're not blockading them. We might need to move some ships into the Adriatic to blockade. So we're outmatching them there and here. But not in the Adriatic, I suppose. Yeah. So let's split our force. And we're going to move the Aquilon with the torpedo boat. And we'll split our light cruisers off to join here. I'll send 2 with it. And then, next turn, we should be blockading them, because we'll have them surrounded. I think it's just home waters. We're going to ignore that convoy raid again. I think on their shipping, so they are only building 1 ship as it is, so at worst it's going to be a battleship and 3 cruisers they'll have. Relations wise, let's go for the Chinese again this turn. Finances, we've got a bit more of a surplus, even with quite a few ships at sea. So we've got 7 or 8 months until those new cruisers are ready. The Ligera class, I'm going to put them in Valencia. No, we'll put them into Barcelona. And then we'll move the battleships back there when this war's over. And then we'll just let the AI select the ports for the 2 smaller class. Torpedo boats, we could build some more of those. But we'll have a look at the armoured cruiser now. So the old designs, the Cadiz, we redesigned this awful undergunned thing, the Alfonso the 12th, into the Cadiz, but that's nearly 5 years old now, that design, and we've got some improvements there, so let's see what we can do with our armoured cruiser. I don't think we have any new hulls really for this that we could utilise. Still got the armoured cruiser 1. I would like some new hulls really. We could use the hybrid light cruiser because we don't have any of this class. What's the difference here? So hull form, resistance, floatability are all 50. Okay. So this armoured cruiser 1 is faster, but otherwise not too dissimilar. But let's see what we can do with it now. We've got some of our upgrades. So what's the maximum we can go to on this is 5,000 tons, so let's do that. Which is actually going to outweigh our... Oh no, it doesn't. So the Cadiz is, again, 1,000 tons smaller. What was the optimum? 20.5, so we'll go with 20.5. We'll leave the range as it is, although they don't really need to be that high range, so we'll drop that slightly. Triple expansions. Just go with the best we can get on all of this stuff. And then I think what we'll try and do is, if we can get those Mark II 9-inch ons, they'll only be singles, and then armour them a little bit better, because our existing armour cruisers are not very well armoured at all. And we saw in that battle they didn't really stand up very well. So we'll put those towers on. Funnel wise, we might struggle here. That only gets us, yeah. So this is an issue. That only gets us up to 20% efficiency on the engines. And we don't actually have, by the looks of it, any funnels that we can fit more than one off on. So we can't fit the big ones. So we're either going to have to reduce its speed. We haven't got induced boilers yet. So I wonder if we stick with the Cadiz class at the minute. Yeah, let's do that. So we will stick with the Cadiz class and build 2 more of them, just to fill out our numbers. They were only 17 knots. No, build 2 more. We could refit them, but I really just want to push the numbers out at the minute. Politics wise, yeah, I've already used that. Okay. Back into a surplus again on the money. And that blockade, yeah, the blockade is in effect now. Yeah, there we go. So that'll hurt their economy. So we've got secondary turrets on light cruisers now, which probably doesn't help us that much at the minute. Transport losses. Okay. The Chinese did reduce our relations with them. So we've got a convoy. We could. Yeah, I'm gonna auto resolve this. Yeah, we won. So we sunk all of them, and got 10,000 or nearly 12,000 victory points again. We only suffered medium to our Rapido, and light to our light cruiser there. Protected cruiser. Okay, so it's 5-1 really on the victory points. The problem now is because we have sunk pretty much their entire, we've sunk their entire fleet now. So they don't have anything else we can actually sink. And we're blockading them, but although that will hit their economy, it won't really give us many victory points, and the transport raids won't give us many victory points either. So there's not a lot we can actually do to increase our victory points on this one now. And I think if we ask for a peace treaty, I mean their economy is still growing either. If we ask for a peace treaty with them, they are probably gonna not give us Sardinia. But there's not really a lot we can do unless they start churning out some battleships and we can sink them, but they're only building one ship, so I think in terms of the war, I think we'll ask for a peace treaty because there's not really much else we can achieve in that. And research wise, I mean, we haven't even got, we'll get the cash from them, we haven't really even got, they haven't got any ships we can take. We could try and get one of these territories, Somaliland, Eritrea, or Sudan. They're pretty much worth about the same, about $500 million, which Eritrea might be the best. So again, the problem is if we get a war with like the British, they'll immediately conquer Italian Somaliland if we take that. And if we go to war with the French, they'll do the same with Eritrea and probably move through into Sudan. I don't think they have any territories anywhere else, so let's see if they accept it first anyway. So we've got a strike mission, so the war continues. So here we got a strike mission, which is transport raid. If we auto resolve it, we'll win, but we only get 80 victory points, so it's not gonna do much. Okay, we get some prestige for failing with our negotiation intervention, but okay. Okay, so I guess Denmark cancelled the alliance with the Italians. I guess that's another positive outcome. It weakens them again slightly. We haven't had any requests for a minor ally yet, which is slightly annoying because we have got shipbuilding capacity, which I would like to use and get some lucrative shipbuilding contracts just to help our money, but we can't do that in a minute. So while we've got our cruiser force building back up, I'm going to take the opportunity with our surplus, and we haven't got really much challenge at the minute. We're going to increase the max shipyard size. We've got, I think, 2, maybe 1 hull that we can't use at the moment. But let's just have a look. In fact, let's just do it anyway. So if we go for the max, it will cost us 187 million over 2 years, and I would like it to be complete before that. If we go, what have we got? Sorry, if we can get it up to 15 for now. So let's just do that 14 months. What's a year? No, okay, let's do it for a year, 78 million. Increase it by that, and we've still got a little bit of a surplus. Politics-wise, we can go for the peace treaty again. So we will go for... Just think, really, who do we want to go to war against next? Again, want to avoid the French. We can't beat the British. The Americans, we could do that and try and get Panama back from them. But we could also have a look at something in the Pacific. And if we went for the Chinese, we could take Formosa. If we went for the Japanese, we could maybe take Naha. Let's go Japan. I should maybe focus on one person at the minute, but they're all kind of even. They all kind of middlingly hate us. Okay, got another strike mission on port. Which will auto-resolve again. Yep, so another victory and another 90 victory points. Okay, that really tanked our relations with the Japanese. Germans provoke us. Arabia also cancelled the alliance with the Italians, so we're really hurting the Italians now, but have they got any minor allies left? Nope. And so their economy now, so we have brought it down to below ours. So it's only 15 billion now. And yeah, they're kind of crippled. But we'll ask for the treaty again. Finances wise, we're still in a surplus with the expanding of the shipyards. So I'm going to use the surplus just to crank up the technology points. Got a cruiser increased weight coming next turn, just because we are advanced at the minute, and I would like to keep it that way. It's probably the only chance we actually have of being able to win anything when it comes to later in the game. If we fall behind, basically, we won't be able to catch up. We'll have to go for sheer numbers, and when it gets to a certain point, that's not going to really help us. Okay, peace treaty. So let's have a look what we've got here. So yeah, we can't take anything. I could have done a naval invasion on Sardinia, but it would have taken a while, and we probably didn't have the tonnage for it for one of their kind of home territories. So we're only getting 300 million out of that, which doesn't get us any of those, but fine, we'll take the cash. Pump that into some new ships. Okay, so we've got a new semi-armored cruiser hull with that unlock. Okay, so that's the end of the war. We'll bring our fleets home. We'll move our battleships back into, or we'll move them into Barcelona, because that's where the new cruisers are going to come out. And then we'll redistribute them once they're all home, and we can get them off the books. So we're now burning through 25 million, so we'll put all of our fleet into limited. Everything that's back in port anyway. What does that bring us to? Minus 21. Yeah, we've got our battleships at sea, so that makes sense. Okay, so we will leave it there for this episode. So the war with the Italians is resolved. We've got a big bunch of cash, but we haven't really expanded our territory. But that's kind of what I want to do at the moment, is get the cash to build out our fleet so we can get our army logistics up, and then we can look to expand and hopefully not succumb to land invasions. The state of the army is not great at the minute, so 16% on the army logistics. We've only got 1 million men in the army. So yeah, if we can get the fleet up, get our naval power rating up with the cash that we're getting off the other powers, we've pretty much crippled Italy's kind of alliances and economy there. So they're out of the game for a while. Maybe we'll look to focus on somewhere like Japan, China, or go back after the US next in the next episodes. Yeah, so thank you for watching. Cheers.